How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be the chiller technician everyone admires and calls for help? Or do you want to be the chiller technician that is left to struggle alone? One of the first chiller service calls I ever took was a complete shit show. The job was 4 hours away on a Saturday night. I was completely overwhelmed with fear. I was alone, 4 hours out of town, and a guy I thought I could trust just shit-talked me to everyone, including my boss and coworkers. Leading up to this, I had been to 3 factory chiller trainings. I had been doing maintenance on chillers and a couple of basic service calls on different types of chillers. I wasn't a complete beginner, but I didn't have a ton of confidence yet. I took the on-call phone for a man named Jacob for 4th of July weekend so he could take some time to spend with his family because he had been working a lot. He said to just call him if I ran into any difficult problems. Saturday night after dinner, a service call came in at a process facility. They said their process chiller was running but not keeping up. I hopped in the beat-up E250 van that shook like a leaf over 55 and drove 4 hours to get there. When I got there, the chiller had a high-pitched scream coming from inside the building that I could hear from the parking lot. When I walked in the mechanical room, the chiller sounded like it was going to rip itself apart. I felt overwhelmed, but I started with the basics. I took all of my readings, and I thought I knew what the problem was, but some of the readings didn't make sense, so I wanted a second opinion. I didn't want to bother Jacob, since he was finally taking time for his family, so I called a different chiller mechanic that I thought was trustworthy. When I called him, he didn't even ask about the readings and had no interest in actually helping me. Instead, he just asked, "Why would they send you to that service call? You're not qualified. They should have sent me." Then he told me that he was too busy to help. After that, I tried calling the factory support line, and they never even got back to me. I finally called Jacob, and I ended up finding that I diagnosed the issue correctly, but I needed a part. Even though Jacob had time off to spend with his family, he drove 4 hours to bring me the part I needed to get the chiller working properly, and he stayed there with me until I left. After we got the chiller back online, I thanked him over and over, and all he said was, "Don't tell anyone that you called me. I want you to have this one, but you need to do the same for me one day." What I didn't know was, after the first technician blew me off, he started calling my boss and all of my other coworkers, telling them I was dumb and didn't know what I was doing, and that the shop needed to stop me from going on service calls like this in the future. Monday morning, my boss called me to ask about how things went over the weekend, and he told me about what my coworker had said about me. He was also a chiller guy with over 35 years of experience, so when I explained my perspective, and that I was able to get the chiller back online and make the customer happy, he just told me that I did everything right and that the other guy was just being an asshole. After that, he ended up sending me to more and more complex service calls and even more chiller training. When I began my journey as a chiller technician, I felt isolated. Despite factory chiller training and working directly for a manufacturer, I found myself unprepared for real-world service calls on chillers. Factory tech support regularly blew me off, and backstabbing from others dramatically slowed my progress. But over the years, I built a solid network of trusted guys and mentors that could conquer any problem we faced. This taught me the invaluable power of a strong community of like-minded men who support each other's successes, which led to the creation of the Chiller Guys Hub. We empower HVAC technicians with practical chiller training and all of the resources they need to have the confidence to tackle every problem they face in the chiller industry. We are here to make sure you don't waste years struggling by yourself like many of us did. Even to this day, if Jacob ever needed my help, I would jump on a plane from anywhere in the world and be there tomorrow. On the other hand, if the other technician called me, I would just let the phone ring. Which technician do you want to be? Become a member today and unlock the tools, resources, and training you need to become the chiller technician that you know you should be.